Good morning, everyone. I am Prachi Bhatnagar from BlazeClan Technologies. It is really nice to have you all here. BlazeClan Technologies, an AWS cloud consulting company focused for bespoke solutions and services for enterprises of all sizes with an expertise in cloud migration, big data, and data warehousing. This webinar, Video Content Asset Management, Publishing Workflow, and Video on Demand will be presented by Shantanu Dutt, Solutions Architect, Amazon Web Services, and Deepak Agliwal, Vice President, BlazeClan Technologies. The agenda of the webinar will be as follows. First, we will give you an overview of AWS Services by Shantanu Dutt, which will be followed by a walkthrough of our product CloudStream by Deepak Agliwal. Following this, we will be having a demo of our product and a QA-in session. Now, before I hand over the webinar to Shantanu, I need to share some information. All participants are muted on entry to ensure best quality audio. If you have any questions, please share them in the chat box in the right bottom corner. We will answer as many questions possible at the end of the presentation. In case any questions remain unanswered, we will answer it over email in 2 working days. We will also share the webinar presentation in 2 working days. Thank you. Shantanu, I hand over the webinar to you now.
All right, let's see if this works. Oops. Okay, perfect. Thanks, folks. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in. As Prachi mentioned, what we're going to do is we'll start off with a quick summary introduction to Amazon Web Services in general, and I'm not going to go into the depths of every possible service, but then obviously an overview specific to the media offerings that we have and why some of the media customers around the world, including India, are adopting AWS Cloud and what is the value that they get from them. To start off with, let's kind of look at some of the public statistics slash service health that we have across the platform. A statistic which is 1 million plus active customers globally as of today as things stand. This was, I think, towards the end of 2015 or start of 2015. The way we define active customers is any customer who has had some activity on his or her account on AWS in the last 30 days preceding. And so what this means is not only are our services have an uptake via customers which are just a narrow stream of customers which are big users of the platform, broadly distributed across multiple customers across the globe. And so 1 million plus customers active means we do have a lot of customers, and that kind of goes back to our philosophy and DNA, which is a high volume, low margin business. We are not a high margin business. We believe in giving customers the best of the breed services of our platform, and as a result, we've obviously had millions of customers, so 1 million plus customers adopt us over the years. So here's a quick perspective on scaling. What does 1 million plus customers being on us mean? What we've had over the years is a lot of customers, some of them really big customers, spinning up a huge amount of resources on us. And what it means is our data centers and our regions across the globe constantly keep growing at a phenomenal rate. And this was a stat that we came out with 18 months ago, and I'm sure this is kind of changed to being much larger now. But the statistic basically states that about 10 to 11 years ago, when Amazon.com, the online retail business, when it was a $7 billion annual enterprise, which is pretty significant sized enterprise, it obviously had a certain amount of server compute resources. And that entire amount of server compute resources that we had back then to support a $7 billion enterprise is something that we are adding every day, which is every 24 hours, into the Amazon Web Services platform. And so every 24 hours, AWS adds server capacity, which is enough to really support all of Amazon.com when it was a $7 billion enterprise, simply because that's the amount of customers that are spinning up every day and spinning up resources and a new customer signing up. We have all these resources spread across our 11 regions across the globe. So you can see from the red boxes, we have a total of 11 regions. 2 of them are non-public regions, one of them in white in the US, which is the US government cloud, or a region or data center specifically for the US government. And then we have one in the light red towards the right, which is in China, in Beijing. If you need access to that region, you will need to have some entity or a business unit in China. Outside of that, the other 9 regions are places where we have multiple availability zones or data centers within those, which are accessible by pretty much anyone and everyone who creates an account on Amazon as of today. And you can really choose any one of these regions to spin up your resources and start working on them and start deploying your media applications. So that's about the global infrastructure. We do have a lot of availability zones, which are nothing but a data center or a series of data centers within each region. The idea is to give you as a customer the leverage for high availability, so that you don't have to really build a DR solution on the cloud. You obviously automatically have multiple data centers in each of the regions that we have, so that when you deploy your applications, they are automatically highly available, provided you architect them for it, which is just choosing 2 availability zones at least at any given point in time for every application. We obviously have, over the years, built multiple services. We started off with something that you see in the bottom tier, which is compute, network, and storage services. So we support all versions of Windows and all flavors of Linux on our compute offering. It is all pay-per-use. And then we have storage options as well, depending on what kind of storage you need, blob storage or SSD disks or just normal magnetic disks based on your I/O and performance of your applications. We have a mix of all those offerings, and it's up to you as a customer to choose from a drop-down window as to which one is right for your application. But what we are seeing of late and the direction that we are heading is coming up with more and more value-added higher services to ensure that customers get more value out of our platform, because it's really no good just running compute and storage on the cloud. Obviously, it's easy to spin up them, it's low cost, customers get that, but over time, what customers are telling us is they want more and more managed services where they don't really want to have the operational headache or the operational bandwidth to really manage all of these infrastructure layer services, and they rather have Amazon do it for them automatically via APIs, and they can go back to doing the heavy lifting or the differentiating parts of the business. And so things like database as a service, NoSQL or even RDMS, or even analytics as a service, where we give you a BI tool, or rather a traditional warehousing tool with BI integrated in it called Redshift, or even EMR, which is Elastic MapReduce, for more unstructured data. In the social media space or even the media space to do analytics as well. And then going even higher, we're coming up with more application level services, specifically things like Elastic Transcoder, which is nothing but a transcoding service for images, audio files, and videos for specifically our media customers. So rather than you setting up an Elastic Transcoder service on a compute platform, you can basically create a workflow on the Transcoder platform, which is really a managed service given to you. Mobile is obviously a space we're getting into big time in the last 15 months, well, about 12 to 15 months that we started off. And in the next 6 to 8 months, you will see a lot in this space as well. We have a bunch of security and management services to ensure that you manage all this infrastructure easily and reduce your operational burden or your operational bandwidth significantly using these. From a access point of view, we have various ways where you can access the platform. 9.5 years ago, when we started off, we were, we started off with a rudimentary service, which was the S3 or simple storage service, and we just decided to see how developers adopt this. But over time, we have built many different ways of accessing our platform. We have a web-based console, which can be used by really anyone because it's just a GUI. We do have a command line for Unix administrators to access most of our services. And then we have RESTful and SOAP APIs to access most every service of ours. We do have SDKs in different languages for developers who are interested in choosing a language of their choice to make these API calls via SDKs. And this is really one of the differentiating parts of our platform. A lot of customers ask us, what are the 2 or 3 things which are really differentiating about a platform? And apart from these high-level services, what I tell them is it's really the ability to automate the infrastructure using some of these SDKs and some of these APIs that are differentiating parts of the platform. You can really automate to any extent that you would like, so much so that your operational overhead of managing a platform is really minimal. Now we obviously looked at a very high level overview of the platform. We looked at some of the kind of differentiating factors of the platform. Now let's look at why specific media companies are adopting the AWS platform, right? And specific to India, if you asked any average Indian person, let's say 7 to 8 years ago or 10 years ago, as to what is your idea of media in general, this is what an average person in India would have told you, right? That this is what media means to me, which is really a bunch of movies and TV shows and television and the theater that we go to is basically what media means to me, right? But today, with digitization happening, you would all agree that people are really innovating fast, right? And they're innovating to an extent where they're really adapting to the needs of individuals, and so much so that if you as a media player don't have what it takes to be in the digital space, this famous dialogue from the movie Diwar is probably what competition might tell you, right? Because we're obviously seeing worldwide adoption in this space in a very, very innovative ways. The likes of Netflix and others really change the way the movie industry works, and they're really disrupting this space because there's just so much on the web today, as you can see from this screen, whether you're anywhere, any part of the world, traveling with any device, that's, building an OTT platform or streaming services or watching live IPL matches is something that every user has. And there are generally so many distractions over the internet today that you really need to build and adjust fast. Otherwise, customers really, it's very difficult to kind of keep customers sticky to your platform because they just have so many choices and distractions, not only in the media space, but other parts of the web like social media, gaming, and otherwise. And everything is just available to them at almost really fraction of a cost than it was before. And there's really very little friction in that space because internet is available to everyone. And so on the cloud, what we are hearing customers talk about is how they can use the cloud to really go to market faster in different spaces and the different pain points that they have. And there are 4 or 5 areas where customers have told us as to where they feel the pain in terms of the media platform or their media assets and how cloud can really help them mitigate that. One of them is ingest and storage, obviously for folks who have traditional data centers, and they still have, the large players still have their own data centers. Storing, unlimited assets, be it just video files or just other assets in digital form, it can really be a pain, right? Obviously, you need lots and lots of storage or tapes and manpower to manage them, and then not only is storing them a problem, but really managing those digital assets over time so that they are accessible over time is really a big pain. It's another thing that people continue to invest in that space to kind of work around that pain, but really this is one space where the Amazon cloud is an absolute no-brainer. That's what media companies have told us. We have a storage service called as S3 or simple storage service where all you do is keep throwing data on it and it'll keep expanding infinitely as much as you want to at an extremely low cost with all the management overhead, high availability of it taken care of automatically out of the box. One particular really objection that most novice customers are new to the platform ask for is how do we ingest all this data into the cloud, right? We have lots and lots of media files already residing somewhere in a data center, colo or even otherwise. How do we kind of ingest the platform because we are limited by our internet bandwidth in India? And so the answer to that question is over time we have developed tools and services to kind of do that and make it very, very easy for you. One of them is import-export, where really you can copy over all your media files to a USB or a SATA or eSATA hard disk and courier it across to the defined addresses that we have worldwide next to our regions. And from there in, you can really have one of our engineers pick it up and then start the import-export job and really import it into one of our storage services immediately. And for your account, it will be available for use the next day, depending on the size of the data. That's one particular service that we have, and what we are seeing across the world is other forms of connectivity coming up as well. We have something called as DX or Direct Connect, which is nothing but a physical port that we give you in a particular city near to you, where you can run a lease line from an ISP of your choice, and that port will be connected to the nearest Amazon region, which means that you can literally bypass the internet and be connected via private connectivity to the cloud, which means that bandwidth will not be an issue in terms of transfer of data. We will come up with a DX point in Bombay very soon. The nearest DX point is Singapore, but we will come up with a DX point in Bombay very soon. And the third form of connectivity is these third-party vendors like Aspera or Tsunami UDP, which is open source, or even Data Expedition, Riverbed, File Catalyst, and the likes, which are really new age companies which have developed with the involvement with the uptake of cloud computing, which give you softwares to really accelerate your data transfer over FTP over the cloud. These protocols, these softwares use the UDP protocol and TCP sequencing of the TCP window to really accelerate your transfer over the cloud and over the internet to 10x, 15x to what it would be normally using usual FTP transfer. The second piece, obviously, after storage is compute, right? Not only compute in terms of servers, lots and lots of servers when you have those peaks, but other things like creating a workflow, right? Creating a workflow for a transcoding. A lot of customers have been successfully doing this on-premise. However, it is a pain and extremely expensive affair to keep purchasing servers for transcoding jobs that you may or may not always require 24/7. And so the cloud makes perfect sense for that, because you could have a transcoding job done for a couple of hours, get done with it, and then you could shut down those servers and stop paying for it, and then not spin them up back until you need them. This is just one example of a transcoding workflow where you can have a CMS website having raw content media coming in, and you can spin up something called as EC2 spot instances, which are extremely low cost instances, even lower than the ones that we provide by default, which can be used for batch jobs. And then the results can be stored either on-premise or on S3, and you can make reports. There are a couple of white papers on this transcoding workflow as well, and how easy it is to set up. We do have templates for these as well. Outside of this, you can also alternately use the transcoding workflow or Amazon Elastic Transcoder, which is really a service that we provide you out of the box. So instead of building that workflow yourself using our compute resources, you can directly provision this service out of the box and create a workflow. It supports different formats, web and TV formats for your audio and video formats, and then if there are specific formats that are missing, you could go to the website and give a feature request or reach out to us, and we're more than happy to really look at it and prioritize it on a roadmap. The next piece is CDN, or content delivery. This should be no surprise. CDN has really become a commodity these days. Amazon is not the only player in the CDN business, but we believe having a CDN service really helps you kind of complete the entire picture along with the Amazon platform of storage and compute. Our CDN service is called CloudFront. We do have a global presence of 54, I believe, 54 edge locations across the globe. We do have a couple of POPs in Mumbai and Chennai, and these are really used by a lot of our customers to stream static as well as dynamic content. In fact, a lot of the IPL streaming, the IPL cricket matches, a lot of streaming providers have used CloudFront as well as our platform to do that streaming, apart from other live streaming and video on demand workloads. This one is really interesting. When we speak to CIOs and even media houses or even general other enterprises, we find a lot of interest in the big data and analytics space, right? People love talking about big data, people love talking about analytics, everyone wants to do analytics for unstructured data or even otherwise. But unfortunately, very few people are doing it in a significant way. And the reason for that, one of the reasons for that is just lack of know-how, or lack of knowing where to start, because it's just a big space. And so what customers are asking for is really a partner or someone who can actually set this platform up for them. And then also some a list of services or a platform which makes it easier for them to set this up. And so at least at the infrastructure layer, what we have done is taken a stab at really building this up. I don't have the slide for some reason, but we have a few services that I was showing you in the earlier services slide, which was on the analytics space, where we have platforms at the infrastructure layer where at the click of a mouse, you can just spin up clusters and you start using those clusters and not managing them because they are managed automatically by the API. You can actually do away with the pain of managing those clusters because it's managed by Amazon automatically, be it for unstructured data or even traditional data warehousing tools. And so beyond that, you could probably use one of our partners like BlazeClan or even otherwise to really start building your business questions around that way as to how you can monetize and increase customer stickiness, because this is a big space that is hugely untapped. And then lastly, we do have a partner ecosystem. Obviously, we'll hear from our esteemed partners BlazeClan as to what their capability is to give this end-to-end using our platform and add value for you. But outside of that, we also do have technology partners, which we believe are partners that you have been used to over the years, and you would probably continue to want to use them because you wouldn't really want to change that once you come on the cloud. And so we realized that. And so over the years, we worked with these global partners to certify their media platforms to run on the cloud, be it DRM or be it just end-to-end management platforms, or be it just media streaming platforms like Adobe, Wowza, or Microsoft. And so we have kind of certified them to work with our platform, not only the CDN platform, but also the compute and storage platforms that we have. Because once you get certified on these, you can continue to use them seamlessly. And in some cases, we have even tied up partnerships with these guys to ensure that the licensing which you have on-premise can be either transferred onto the Amazon platform directly and seamlessly, as well as also have some of these also give you pay-per-use licensing, wherein you spin up an image of some of these providers on the Amazon platform, and you just pay for the licensing pay-per-use, so that it becomes extremely easy for you to purchase licensing without really making long-term commitments or contracts. With that said, hope this was useful to you. Those are my connects. Feel free to tweet to me or connect with me if you have any queries. With that said, I would now like to turn it over to Deepak. Over to you, Deepak.
Thanks, Shantanu. I think it was an informative session on how we can use AWS services. Now coming to what BlazeClan does, so quickly, I just wanted to introduce what BlazeClan is, who we are, what we do, and then we'll move on to what is our expertise in the media sector and how we have helped large customers or large media houses in India and abroad to basically pick up their cloud journey and also utilize all these wonderful services that we have from AWS, right? So BlazeClan basically is an advanced consulting partner of AWS. We started 4 years back. We're a pretty young company, but we're growing at a very fast pace. We have a very large experience of migrating a lot of customers to cloud, be it media or otherwise. Right from a lot of internet companies to a lot of companies who are in the media space. Now there's also a trend of very traditional companies like manufacturing companies are moving to cloud. We are helping them, most of them, to migrate to cloud, manage their technical infrastructure, as well as and specifically in the media case, we also have built a lot of solutions which we'll go through. And as Shantanu said, right, the newest trend is how do I run my big data or analytics on cloud? And that is where we come in and we help a lot of customers to visualize or analyze their data to make sense out of it using a lot of big data techniques on AWS cloud, which could be either you're running your Hadoop on a standard EC2 instance, or using EMR, which is a proprietary Hadoop cluster on AWS. Plus, there are a lot of, specifically in case of media, there are a lot of other big data services that can be used for real-time streaming or real-time data ingestion. We have something like Kinesis, and we'll talk about more about those services later in the presentation. But we are right now helping a lot of customers to do that. And one of the reasons why our customers love us, right? Because one is we have a very in-depth technical skills with more than 100 certifications. We are the only one of the few partners in India to be certified by AWS and audited by AWS as a managed services competency partner. What it means is, AWS will do a thorough audit using a third party on the way we service our customers, the kind of technical knowledge we have, and the kind of references we have, and it is done in a very systematic manner. And right now in India, there are only very few partners. In fact, globally, there are very few partners who are certified as a managed services competency partner. Second certification that we have is on big data. Again, I think in India, there are only 2 partners today that has this big data competency. Again, what it means is, based on our experience, based on our references that we have, the kind of work we have done, we have been certified by AWS. So this gives a lot of credibility in terms of, the kind of work we're doing, the kind of technical knowledge we have. And that is how, we are able to service our customers and take them to cloud and service them on various services. Yeah. So moving on, just to give you a brief, we are present. I'll just move. I think the slides is moving a bit slower. But yeah, so quickly, just to cover on our presence globally, we are present in a couple of countries already. So we started with India and we have moved on, and right now we are present in Singapore, Malaysia, and Europe, Belgium to be specific, but we are servicing the entire Europe from Belgium. So if you are a global company and you are looking at services across the globe, and you have the partner who can basically have physical presence in all these countries, right? So we're working with a lot of media companies in most of these countries, including Singapore, Malaysia. We have pretty large media customers, and we also, one good thing is we get to know what the world is doing outside India, right? So we can basically get their experience or the way they are moving forward. And both in our case as well as Amazon's case, we get all those references to India so that it can be implemented for the Indian customers, right? So that is based on our global reach. In terms of services, as I said, right from the basic cloud strategy and roadmap is where we start. And for example, if you are a media company today, you're doing a lot of stuff on premise. You have a lot of applications where we really don't know where to start. So we come in, we will basically come in, study your current applications, current infra, and give you a roadmap that fine, these are the two applications which can move as in on cloud, right? This is an application which will require some change. So this is where our services will come into play, and then we'll make sure that we give you a complete strategy document which includes how much time it will take, what it will cost you, what changes you need to do in your application, what will be your architecture, everything to be, basically to be covered under a cloud strategy. Then the second service that we do is basically actually helping you to migrate to cloud or deploy your application on cloud. Third is just to manage it, right? Once you are there, how do I manage it, right? And when I say management, it is more automated way. So we are not, like a traditional data center guys who will sit 24/7 in front of a large screen and monitor your infrastructure. No. The way we do it is we automate a lot, and when we automate, we basically make sure that your infra is being monitored 24/7 in an automated way, and whenever there is a breach or whenever there is an alarm, you will basically be alerted. The ticket will be logged in automatically, and then you will get a notification. An engineer will start working on it, and we commit to very stringent SLAs. So that is how we do a lot of automated managed services. Obviously, we spoke about big data, and plus, the last thing that we do is also very native product development for cloud, right? So I will talk one of the case studies that we built for one of the largest media houses in India for Sony, and that's the product development that we have done for that, right? So moving on to the next slide, talk more about our media services, right? So we have seen this peculiar use case that Shantanu also spoke about is in your entire life cycle of basically generating content to publishing it, there are various things that are required, right? So one is where do I store my media, whether it is video, whether it is audio, whether it is images. I need a very scalable and I would need dependable storage, and also which is not very expensive to store all my media content. That is where AWS, specifically the S3 service, comes into play. Once I store it, I need to when I need to publish it, I need to transcode it. So how do I transcode it? Again, Shantanu spoke about a lot of technology partners that we have, right? So there are a lot of transcoding services. I also saw a question on transcoding. So what AWS offers is, you have something called as Elastic Transcoder that will be used for transcoding. There could be certain things which are probably, required, which are not available in Elastic Transcoder, or you need to do some customization. Then you can also go for some third-party transcoder like a Zencoder, which is readily available and can be deployed on cloud, right? Once I transcode it, how do I publish it? Whether, as a media company, I'm sure, you will want to publish it to various channels, or, there could be, you could want to publish it to YouTube, to Vimeo, or to Brightcove, Dailymotion, to an Apple TV or to a Samsung Play Store, right? The channels couldn't be endless. So how do I make sure that once I have my media on cloud and once I have my asset management on cloud, how flexible it is for me to publish it to various platforms. It could be your own video on demand, or it could be our own. We'll also talk about CloudStream, which is a video on demand service by BlazeClan, right? So how do I publish it? And that is what the entire story is all about. So with BlazeClan, I mean, we offer end-to-end media stack, right from storing to publishing or having your own video on demand. And that is where we enable a lot of media companies or even private companies. We have a corporate of more than 10,000 employees, and their use case is, they don't want to store their videos on YouTube. It's an IP which they want to protect, and they want to have it internally only within the organization, but they wanted to have a YouTube like a CMS which is not very expensive and on which they can share their videos. So that is where they chose CloudStream as their video on demand solution, and now they are using it across their organization. Whatever videos they have, it's stored very securely on cloud and can be viewed only within the organization, right? So it's not only the media companies that are adopting this media, I would say, stack, but it is also organizations like large IT companies or large FMCG companies who are having many number of employees, and they want to share videos and they don't want to open YouTube to all their employees, right? So that's the use case. I will just quickly move on to some more technical details. Right, as I said, there are a lot of challenges in terms of broadcasters, publishers, studios, gaming industry, of how do I make sure that the data is available in real time or media is available in real time. I have a platform which is scalable. Sony use case wherein they wanted to basically make sure that they don't miss an SLA with YouTube or it will lose their ad credits. Right? How did BlazeClan make sure that the platform is so reliable that it publishes or pushes the media in real time to all these platforms, right? For broadcasters, again, they want to make sure it's secure, it is large, it is predictable, right? Studios, again, the requirement is studios and gaming industry, right? The peculiar requirement is they are producing a movie or a video and they want compute for only a short duration of time. Now, if I go on-premise, there is no other way that I'll have, say, a huge server with a huge capacity for a short duration of time. So quickly moving on, next slide. So that is where across the media sector we see that there are challenges, and we have found ways to address it through cloud, through AWS cloud specifically, which gives us service at each level, either to store data, to stream it, to have a kind of I would say asset management in place, to transcode it, to distribute it, to archive it, and also analyze it, right? So 5 major challenges, and I would say more than 5 services across the AWS landscape to address it. I would also request you guys to keep your questions coming in. I mean, I can answer it while also presenting. So I see a lot of questions coming in, and they've been answered by Shantanu also, right? So we're talking about our media stack. As I said, it's an end-to-end platform where we can pick your file from your source repository, transcode it, publish it, archive it. Also use something which we have built called as digital asset management, which is part of the, I would say, our platform that we have built. And finally, how do you stream your videos in real time across various devices, across various browsers? So when you have your video on demand solution, obviously it should be browser independent, device independent. How do I make sure that I have that? We spoke about this in terms of having, the video. This slide specifically caters to the video on demand solution that we have, right? So when you see YouTube, there are a lot of features that anybody would envisage in their video on demand. If I have a lot of metadata on it, I should be able to search it. I should be able to categorize it. There are a lot of features that are available out of the box in our video on demand. Yeah, this talks about our publishing workflow. I will just quickly touch upon it, and probably will also try and cover it in the demo that we have. So I would want to spend some more time on the demo. So quickly on the publishing workflow, it allows you to store content, upload it, transcode it, we have, by default, we are using Amazon Elastic Transcoder, but there is also a facility to add other transcoders like Zencoder, right? Again, you can set. There are a lot of presets on the transcoding. You can have various presets. You can have various, based on your platform that you're publishing on, whether it is YouTube or Vimeo, you can actually have the presets already defined. Or if you can add a third-party framework and set your presets. So it's very flexible in terms of making sure that you can publish your media to any platform that you want. It is API driven, so you can set up new APIs. Tomorrow you can. I gave an example of Apple TV, right? So tomorrow, for example, you want to publish your content on Apple TV. So can I write one more API? Yes, that is possible, right? Talking about media files, we know that media files are huge, right? And as Shantanu spoke about, if I want to put this media on AWS, what are the options that we have? So what we have done is within the framework, that the media framework that we have built accelerators which is based on Tsunami UDP, which helps you to upload your files very quickly. So that is again the publishing workflows, one of the benefits that we have built. Obviously, once you have the content, once it is there, once you have published it, you don't need it. You can archive it in a very low cost, storage called as Amazon Glacier. Right? We have also given facility once you've archived it. How do I search it on Glacier? So there is a way to search those content on Glacier, and so that you can quickly retrieve it when you want it. Right? Again, as I said, very simple configurations, multiple presets available. Easy search and retrieval, easy way to store it, very flexible, API driven, and most of the features are available out of the box. Plus, if you want us to further, I would say, customize it for your needs, that is all possible. We spoke about asset management, right? So what also the platform gives you a feature is to basically manage your assets. For example, if you have uploaded a specific video, and you want to have multiple versions of those videos, and you might decide that version A can go on YouTube, version B will be used for my internal usage, version C should go on Vimeo. That is all possible. You can have in the digital asset management module of our framework, you can store videos, version it, and download the version that you want or upload the version that you want, and all at a single click. Quickly moving on, again, as I said, on the performance side, it is scalable because it is on cloud. You don't have to worry about the scale, whether it is storage or compute. Depending on your needs, we can provision the infrastructure that is required, and it can scale as per your needs. I mean, Shantanu gave examples. There are public references. If you guys have attended the enterprise summits, you have seen how Hotstar is doing millions of views for a IPL match. It's completely deployed on AWS, right? So those are the classic use cases about the way you use AWS platform for your media needs. We spoke about storage. Again, you can store high content of storage. This is the technical architecture of transcoding and distribution. There are various services at various levels. One on the left hand side is your own media, which is stored on servers, which can be uploaded to S3 using accelerators. S3 is the default storage where we'll store all the media. There could be, we spoke about the elastic transcoders. We can have something called as the simple queue service for queuing your content. Again, it can be archived to Glacier, or it could be transcoded. We can use CloudFront for making sure that your media reaches to various distribution channels and can be used effectively. You can again use CloudFront for streaming, and which is basically supported by various edge locations, Mumbai being one of the edge locations, so that there is no lag in the content that you are publishing, or it has been viewed by various your customers worldwide. Again, we have our own product called as Cloudlytics. It's we will go into details. You can post your questions here, but it gives you a view of analytics on your if you're using, say, for example, CloudFront logs, and it will analyze those logs and give you from where the media has been downloaded, which is the most popular region where it has been mostly viewed, and give you a lot of analytics based on various parameters or by analyzing various logs of AWS and basically give you all these details. Okay. Quickly moving on, again, a video on demand platform. As I said, it is scalable. You can have n number of subscribers to the video on demand platform. Completely metadata driven. Search is completely based on metadata. You can have the advertisement insertions in between the videos. So post-roll, pre-roll, all that is possible. That is all built in. Obviously, when you do ads, you'll have to subscribe to a specific service of a third-party advertiser and pay accordingly. But it's an end-to-end video on-demand platform, multi-browser, multi-device. It is basically it can render on any device, and based on the form factor, it will the screen will adjust accordingly. So quickly moving on, again we said we can download videos, comment, share. It provides you, and there is a built-in recommendation engine. So for your users, it will give you a recommendation of what videos should he watch, he or she should watch, once he has bought the specific kind of a genre of a video. Right. Again, use cases we spoke about. A lot of media houses are using it. Advertising agencies are using it. A lot of educational providers are using it. Within a large organization, it could be used as an internal YouTube. It could be used as a training. It could be used by training institutes to train their people using videos. There are n number of use cases that we have seen for all end-to-end media stack that we have. You can also do just on the architecture diagram of video on demand. As I said, you can not only play the static videos, but it also plays, because we are using Wowza streaming engine. It can be used for live streaming. So for example, there was a use case where a CEO of an organization wanted to do a webcast, a live webcast, video webcast, and that is where they think these things comes into play, because you don't know how many people will log in and what time. And you want to be prepared, you have 10,000 employees. There's no point in having a infrastructure for 10,000 employees. So how do I make it scalable so that, even if it is a live thing that has been delivered, your infrastructure will not fall down. And with AWS, that is possible. We scale to an nth level. There is no limit to how many users can log in. Based on the architecture that we define, you can decide to have 10,000 concurrent users or 1 billion concurrent users. Doesn't matter at all. Right. So quickly moving on, I think we will now, this is more of a technical specification that we spoke about. I will move away from this slide right now and quickly see if we can just move on to the case study. So we spoke about Sony as one of our customers. They are one of our leading customers in India. They use AWS a lot. And their primary requirement was they wanted to publish their content across various syndicate partners, including YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, plus their own SonyLive.com, and they had SLAs with all these customers. Manually, I think there are a lot of problems. One is they used to miss those SLAs. Secondly, there were a lot of errors in terms of transcoding or even picking up the wrong file. And then that is how they reached out to us, and they wanted to automate this entire process. By using our media stack, we built the entire scalable ingestion model, wherein there were presets which were defined for syndicate partners. There was transcoding, there was archival once the content is published to a specific syndicate partner, right? So in short, and they're very happy with the overall, I would say, product that was delivered. They are now able to publish n number of contents to n number of syndicate partners without breaching any SLA. Right, and they're able to get all the ad credits that they deserve. So a lot of monetary advantage that they have now, a lot of advantage over their competitors to make sure that their content reaches to all their syndicate partners well before time. Right. Again, as I said, why BlazeClan? As I said, we are born in the cloud. We are very agile. With AWS, as the core, I would say, we follow the same principles. We are agile. We work with you very closely to make sure that we can do all your requirement. We can bring in a framework that could be designed or provisioned for you, right? If there are external things that we need to add, we'll add, and we are very, very flexible. in terms of making sure that we will make sure that your time to market comes down drastically, right? So now I would hand over to Amit for a quick demo. So Amit, over to you.
In CloudStream application, you can manage your video content, you can track your activities, and you can create the source repository, you can create the syndicate partner, you can publish your video content on a different type of syndicate partners like YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, and own platform. So and we have a one front-end module which is CloudStream Video Portal. So from here you can stream your video content, you can rate your video, you can comment on the video, and you can manage your video content from the VOD platform. So now I'm going to show you how to publish the video content in our platform. So right now from here you can see in a dashboard. Here, from here you can manage your all the activity which is happening in your application, and from source repository option you can configure your source repository. Right now I have configured one S3 source repository. So now I'm going to create the syndicate partner. Wait. So now I'm going to publish on our portal, and now I'm going to select the source repository. Transcoding is required, and I'm going to transcode my video in 1080 pixel format. So it will pick your video content from your source repository automatically and transcode it and publish on your portal. So here you can see your video, your syndicate partner has been created. So now I'm going to see my, wait for a minute. As you can see, one job is initiated, means that your application picked your file from your source repository, and you can monitor the activity. You can see one job is in processing stage. So from here you can track your video which is in processing stage, and you can create the custom preset as well. You can create the Transcoder output as well. You can define the user access as well. From user module you can create the users, new users, and you can assign the role, particular role to the particular user. This is our video platform, VOD platform application. So here you can see some file has been published already. So now you can see one file has been published. As you can see, one file, your file has been published, and here you can see your file, and here you can see your cartoon video file came. And if you click on this thumb, you can play your video. You can share your video with your colleague. You can download your video from here, and you can rate as well. You can comment, add the comment on a particular video. You can search your video with your metadata, which is you have given at the time of creation. So here you can see your video is playing. Okay, so that's it from my side.
Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, you can ask them now, or otherwise you can email us also at info@blazeclan.com or deepak@blazeclan.com, and we will definitely answer your questions. Thank you, everyone. It was great having you here, and we look forward to your questions and your replies. We will also share the webinar presentation in 2 working days. Thank you so much.